Hello, Madan. Very good morning.
Hey, Noor. Good morning.
Okay. Thanks for joining this session, Madan. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar session on SharePoint 2016. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to the folks joining from different parts of the globe. My name is Noor Basha, a marketing manager at Winwire Technologies, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. So as you can see on the screen, today's topic is SharePoint Server 2016, where we will learn about some of the new and exciting features in SharePoint 2016 and upgrade options that are available for SharePoint 2016. So before we start, let me highlight few housekeeping items. During the webinar, please feel free to post questions and we will try to answer as many as we can at the end. Recording and presentation of the session will be shared to you in next 24 to 48 hours. So with that, let me introduce you to today's speaker, my colleague, Mr. Madan. He is an enterprise consultant at Winwire Technologies and brings over 12 years of IT industry experience. He is a Microsoft certified professional in designing and developing applications in various versions of SharePoint, right from 2007 to 2013. And SharePoint Online as well. Over the past few years, he has architected solutions for large-scale customers in adopting SharePoint as an organization-wide platform. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Madan. Madan, over to you.
Thank you so much, Noor. I don't know, you talked about enough about me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks across the world. Thank you so much, for taking out time and joining this SharePoint 2016 webinar. I know, just like you all, I'm also more excited about the final, product launch. So with that, being said, I will go ahead with the agenda. So what I thought, in today's webinar, we'll cover is how SharePoint as a product, evolved over a period of time. And then getting onto the SharePoint 2016 overview and what all the installation and configuration requirements for SharePoint 2016. There are a lot of cool new features in 2016. We'll touch upon them, and after that, I'm going to break out from the slides because I know you all will get bored looking at the slides for a long time. So I'm going to flip over to the SharePoint 2016 demo site. I'll just put the caveat again. It's not the UI or anything is not customized. It is just a plain vanilla out of the box SharePoint 2016 site. So I just want to get to some perspective of how the SharePoint 2016 looks like. Nothing much different from 2013 in terms of look and feel, but some of the features I want to show in 2016. Then when there are a lot of cool new features getting added, obviously there are certain features which will kind of lose track or probably not used by customers many a time. So that's when Microsoft kind of deprecates such features. So we'll talk about some of those features and migration options. So I don't want to get into too much about migration options because that itself is like a topic we can talk about it for days about SharePoint migration. So this is at a high level the agenda, like Noor explained earlier. At any point in time, let's say you're not able to hear me clearly, the screens are not loading well, or you have any other questions throughout the presentation, please feel free to chat, use the chat window and put the questions. Noor will be able to articulate those questions to me. I'll try and cover as much as I can. If not, we can have an offline chat. Okay. Evolution of SharePoint. So it's been close to 15 years, I would say, from the time SharePoint first version of SharePoint 2001 came out to the market. It's close to 15 years. Even before SharePoint 2001, for few years before, Microsoft internally worked on this product. And if you look at the SharePoint journey from 2001 onward, you have a very first version launched in SharePoint 2000 in 2001, and the next version is SharePoint Portal Server 2003. I honestly speaking, I don't think there was enough traction in SharePoint as a product itself during these periods. And then the big version came out, which is called MOS, Microsoft Office SharePoint Server 2007. That got launched almost at the end of the 2016. That's what kind of attracted a lot of customers. And I've seen a lot of customers moving towards SharePoint during that time. And then the very next version was SharePoint Server 2010. You would have remembered if you're following if you're following the SharePoint community for quite some time, you would remember that's when the fast acquisition happened with Microsoft, and then the fast search engine. You were trying to integrate the fast search engine, all those nightmares, and parallelly, you also have the client-based authentication introduced, all of that, right? And this is the time period now when I've seen a lot of customers moving from other platforms to SharePoint as well, right? Like a non-Microsoft platform to SharePoint as well. And parallelly, you would have also seen the BPOS from Microsoft as a cloud offering was also getting into traction, and a lot of people were using the SharePoint component also from that. So that is a on-prem versus online kind of a scenario. Then SharePoint 2013 came into market. Lot of issues, any issues we found during 2010, you would have noticed a lot of them were kind of taken care in SharePoint 2013. And that's when the Office 365, from SharePoint 2013 onwards, the Office 365 V2 version is kind of released. And then we move on to, now we are in SharePoint Server 2016. So I want to take out some more time on the next slide and talk about how SharePoint 2016 roadmap itself. I've given you a 15 years overview, but I'm going to give like a quick last 5 years. What happened in the Microsoft world, and especially in the SharePoint world, right? So we had SharePoint 2010 launched, and somewhere in 2011, we started seeing the SharePoint Online O365 V1 version getting the traction. And SharePoint 2013 launched in the year of 2013, and then we had the SharePoint Online or Office 365 V2 version. I would say the functionalities are almost similar to the SharePoint 2013. That's how SharePoint Online started. And as you can see, every week or every 2 weeks, Microsoft keeps shipping more and more features into Office 365. And I would say somewhere in 2014, 2015, in beginning time frame, the code base of SharePoint Online was taken, and from there Microsoft started building SharePoint 2016 product. So one point I would like to highlight: whoever attended the Las Vegas SharePoint conference in 2013, even including me, everyone was kind of wondering, will there be any more new version of on-prem from Microsoft at all, right? That was a kind of a $1 million question at the end of the conference, because almost 95% of the sessions were focused around all online and Office 365. So people were kind of questions and puzzled, will there be any other on-prem version at all? So Microsoft gave an answer. So they have come up with Office 365. From Office 365 they derived SharePoint 2016, and it is completely hybrid enabled, right? Overview about SharePoint 2016. It's all about cloud. It's all about mobile, right? Mobile capabilities, cloud and on-prem working together and shaking very well, rather than we struggle a lot to integrate. So that is all about SharePoint 2016 right now. There are improvements in compliance. There are improvements in the user experience. And there are a lot of there are no changes. Just to be clear, there are not much changes in the UI as well. There are no interface level changes, but there are a lot of experience level changes. I'm going to talk about those in the next set of slides. So overview, you all would have just gone through the overview in other sites as well. So I want to take out some time and get started with, okay, if you want to get started with SharePoint 2016, what you can do. So in 2016 itself, from the Q4 of last year, we have seen like the initial IT preview version released, and then we have seen the beta 2 version released. Then we have seen the release candidate got out in the first quarter this year. Then we have also seen the RTM version released in March. Now the final product is going to be launched in the early May for the commercial use, right? We have from a server or the hardware infrastructure perspective, you would need anywhere between 16 to 24 gig of memory, and the processor obviously at least it's going to be only 64-bit. I would say 4-core to start with, if not 8-core, at least 4-core to start with. You have option of a single server. It's not exactly a standalone like we used to do in earlier versions, and as you can see in the slide, there is no more SQL Express support. So when you do a standalone installation in the earlier versions, you get a SQL Express installed automatically. But though here we call it like a standalone, is like you already have a SQL server in place, and then you are installing SharePoint in one of the server, right? So that's a new definition of a standalone installation. And from a SQL standpoint, you would need anywhere between SQL 2014 SP1 and above, right? You cannot have the lower versions of SQL Server, so you would need like a SQL Server to 2014 SP1 and above. And from an OS perspective, for SharePoint, you would need Windows Server 2012 R2 and above. Okay. When you start with installations, there is an interesting concept about a new concept. This is totally new. It was not existing in the earlier versions, MinRole. Whoever is in the webinar, if you have administered SharePoint at some point in time, you would have that you would remember all the nightmares we used to have. Oh, okay. So the million-dollar question is, one of the IT team may ask, okay, I'm going to bring down this particular server out of your SharePoint server form, which has like 6 servers probably. I'm going to bring down this one server for Windows patch and maintenance. Do you have a problem with it, right? Will there be anything affected if I bring down this particular server? So, it will be very hard, for anyone to answer that question right away, because you don't know, how many services are running on each of the server. Though technically, we call it like an app server, web server in SharePoint 2013 perspective. You never know, which server is running which particular service application, right? So just to avoid all of that confusion, so all that confusion is taken by Microsoft. The administrator don't need to worry about any of this. You can directly jump on and then use the MinRole concept and say, okay, I'm installing SharePoint. At the end of the installation, I get a pop-up like this. I choose, okay, I want this particular server to be a front-end server or an application server or a distributed cache server. The app fabric is gone, right? So no, you have a distributed cache now. Then you have a search, or you have a custom option. There are some people, okay, I want to probably load balance one of the service from front end, and then one of the service from an application server. So in that case, you still have an option called custom. There you can again play around which service you want to run or load balance. If you go with this configuration, the minimal number of servers you would need to configure SharePoint is 5, right? From a recommendation standpoint, you can obviously put SQL Server also in one of the box, but you would bare minimal need a 5 server configuration, right? One for SQL Server, and one for front end, one for application, one for distributed cache, and one for search server. So these are all the minimum 5 servers you would need for going ahead with the MinRole. The next question is, do I always need to go for MinRole, all of these servers? No, you can still go for a single server form. When I say single server form, assumption is that you already have a SQL Server installed and configured, and you are going to install SharePoint now. So that's a single server form definition I'm talking about. Okay. Providing more details about each of these roles, what the front end, is front-end's role is, what is the search server's role is, what is the application server's role is. I don't want to read all the text available in this slide deck. Obviously, anyone you will receive the slide deck in 24 to 48 hours. I'll let you read. But this is at a high level. What is individual roles, responsibilities within the entire server form. Okay. Topology planning. Using this MinRole concept, new MinRole concept, the topology planning goes like this. It completely depends on the type of server form you want to have it. You may say that, okay, this is the form I'm building is a content form. So in that case, what all roles you need to have it, the 4 minimal roles I have mentioned. Let's say you have an interesting scenario. You have a different form, but you have server form 1, and then you have server form 2. And in the server form 2, you are just going to provide service to other forms, right? Think of it in SharePoint 2013 world. Let's say you have an Excel service, Excel service running, right? Service applications running. You want to share or provide a dedicated server for only the Excel services, right? It is something similar to that. Let's say you want to just run some services for a different form. In that case, you would go for a shared services form. You don't need a front-end server running, because you are not getting any end user requests directly. Then the third type of form, just the name suggests it's just a search form. You don't need anything else. All you need is just the search component for taking care of your indexing and querying. So this is all about IT pros who wants to install, configure SharePoint 2016. Now we'll move on to the new features available in SharePoint 2016. The 2016 is all about hybrid, right? All about connecting to cloud service offerings from Microsoft. So you can see that there is a dedicated Office 365 icon in the central admin if you go, and you can kind of configure the OneDrive and site features, everything from the central admin itself. And what are all the hybrid options available? You can do a hybrid OneDrive for business, and what it means that whatever the content, the user's document library, right? Whatever you have it, that hybrid OneDrive document, anything you are putting in the on-prem version of OneDrive, you don't need to have an on-prem OneDrive versus online OneDrive. So you have an online as well as on-prem site. You would just have one OneDrive instead of having in both. So that OneDrive will exist in online, SharePoint Online. Then the second thing is sites you are following. So you may be following, let's say, 10 sites from on-prem version, and then 5 more sites from online version. You don't need to have 2 different place to view what all sites or documents you are following. You have one place, which is the SharePoint Online, your personal site. That's where you can see all the sites you are following, including your on-prem version. Then the next thing is about the profiles, Office 365 profiles. You can have one profile instead of having on-prem versus Office 365 profile. Everything is just one profile called Office 365 profile. Then there's an important feature called redirection. It's anything what you're seeing on the top 4. Everything is working based on a feature called redirection. So you're on-prem site, and let's say you're opening your OneDrive for business. So this redirection module is the one taking care of routing the user from the on-prem version to the online version of OneDrive. So this is the experience of hybrid search. So you have your search results coming from both SharePoint on-prem as well as online into everything is stored in the cloud, right? As the slide says, all your documents stay on the on-premises environment, but the entire index is moved to the cloud, right? So you don't need to have like a high-end systems running on-prem. Let's say you have a situation where you have some custom applications written which cannot be ported to online immediately, so you're in the transition period. Obviously, the very first scenario is the hybrid. So in this kind of a situation, you can have your search working across these two platforms rather than having search, right? If you have different search, obviously the end users will have to open the on-prem version, search for something, they don't find it, then they need to open the online version and then do the search again. So this unified search what kind of helps in avoiding all of that. This was possible even in 2013 version, with a lot of configuration manually we do it, the hybrid search option. But in 2016 it is taken to the next level. Even the delve is also available in the hybrid search. Delve also has the experience of some of the content showing from the cloud version and some of the content showing from the on-prem version. The Extensible app launcher. People who are familiar with Office 365 app launcher on the top suite bar. All of those Office 365 apps also can be available in the on-prem version. So you're on SharePoint 2016 on-prem and you open your app launcher, you will see mix of both the on-prem as well as the online apps available for you. Right? So you don't have to flip windows to go to online. Completely mobile friendly. So a lot of information and then the architecture has been put in to ensure that mobile friendliness is taken care, right? Because Microsoft realized that no longer people are using just the laptop to access the SharePoint sites. You have surfaces, tablet devices, mobile devices, accessing SharePoint. So a lot of architecture, reviewed sessions have been put in, and then the changes have been implemented in the mobile first world, right? So one of the tool, or it's not a tool, it's one of the open source responsive UI package is available. So that package will help both 2013 on-prem as well as 2016 on-prem completely responsive. So I'll talk about it a little later as well. How many times we used to wait for the site collection creation? Sometimes it takes 30 to 40 seconds, right? If you're having a slower network connection, obviously it used to take more than a minute. A lot of times people used to wonder, okay, is there anything happening? And then they get pretty frustrated and close the window also. That I've seen it multiple times in the customer location as well for a new site collection creation. But in 2016, you have a fast site creation option. It just takes like 1 or 2 seconds. Imagine the difference between 40 seconds versus 1 or 2 seconds. Obviously, people are going to love it. The way the biggest thing is two things done to make it right. One is there are no feature activation overhead when you are creating a site collection. Right? Everything is kind of pre-built, and instead of working at a web level, the way the site collection creation works is at a using a copy site feature, copy SharePoint site feature at the database level. So that improves the performance pretty much. Some more new features now I want to cover, like project web app integration. So I have worked on multiple projects where project server is installed as a separate component, and we have been trying to configure link between the project server and the SharePoint server. So that have been one of the scenarios in some of the customer engagements. But with SharePoint 2016, project server is kind of inbuilt within the SharePoint product itself. So you don't need to have a separate installable. But still, you need to have the licenses for the project server. But everything comes inbuilt, packaged within SharePoint itself. I'm going to in my demo, I'm going to cover some of these as well. documents, SharePoint, being a primarily a document management system in most of the organizations, apart from the cool features it provides on social and everything. But in the documents, there are a lot of improvements done. Even I have worked on multiple migration projects where when you do the migration, some of the files would not get migrated because the files may have a special characters on them, on their name. So in such cases, the migration wouldn't work in the earlier versions of SharePoint. You're not going to have that problem going forward because a lot of special characters are allowed in the file name itself. And the UI is simplified. Apart from the ribbon, 2013 way of ribbon, you do have important things like new document or uploading a document, syncing, and some of the very common operations you do with the document library. All of them are put in the document library directly. And you do have a lot of preview features apart from the Microsoft Word and PDF preview. Now we do have the image and video preview as well available. And showing the progress of upload earlier, we drag and drop like 10 files which are huge size, and we are not sure what is happening. Is it really uploading or not? We don't know, right? So that progress bar is also given into the document library. Preview feature, we talked about it. You have preview for all the standard image file types as well as the video file types. So this preview feature is available both in the document library level as well as in the search results level. Right? So when you search for some content and then hover on images, you still get a similar preview option. Okay, so this is the slide. Probably I can talk about it for hours. So we have been having nightmare about all these boundaries. Like customers always ask, who has a list which is less than 5,000 items? Why would you even have that limitation? We know from a technical standpoint why that limitation was, but from a business user standpoint they don't care, right? There's all these hard limitations of 5,000 items in a list, and then started to showing the list view threshold issue, the view issue, everything. Right. So the 5,000 limit is increased using the index column approach, right? So you have a long list item index option available. That is helping you in having more than 5,000 items. There is not a specific higher limit given by Microsoft in any articles. As of now, it is given like more than 5,000. I myself have to test by putting more than 5,000 items and seeing if there is any hard limitations. I'm sure there will be, but I could not find so far. And the maximum file size by default it is 50 MB in SharePoint any version 2010 or 2013, and you can extend it up to 2 GB. But in SharePoint 2016 by default you have a limit of 10 GB. So I think this is good enough for most of the customer scenarios. This will help because a lot of times I've seen the scenario like more than 2 GB file they will still use some old file shares to collaborate the content. You can avoid all of that. From a content database size, 200 GB was the content database limit. Now it's in terabytes. Obviously, you don't want to have a content DB more than a terabyte. Then your backup restore policy becomes much more complex. So terabyte is a good limit for having a content database. Then how many site collections you can have it in a particular content DB? As of now it is 2,000. Now it is 100,000. The number itself tells you this recommendation from Microsoft is if you want to have a content isolation, just go for a different site collection, right? You don't need to have one department, one site collection. That concept is no longer there. That is gone from 2007 onwards. So you don't need to have those restrictions. You can have any number of site collections for a department. Then again, search limits are increased. This is per service application. So if you have multiple service applications, obviously you can crawl and index more items. Data loss prevention. So this is one of the feature from a compliance standpoint. you don't want to put users SSN numbers or credit card numbers directly on SharePoint some documents or probably in some SharePoint list. Right? So this data loss prevention kind of helps you in finding out if users are putting any sensitive information without their knowledge, right, into SharePoint. Because there are other systems, you may have a payroll system, which is maintaining all that information, or a HR system maintaining all that information. You don't want to put all that personal information into SharePoint, right, and getting into the compliance and legal litigations. So you would better go for this. Yes, leverage all these data loss prevention DLP features. As you can see, the filter, you can just put the US social security number. There are like 50 plus out of the box sensitive information, pre-filters available. You can leverage them to ensure that nobody is using that. Automatic index management, like I said, this warning is something that you would have been much more familiar. Looking at a list view threshold warning whenever you go to the list settings page. So with the automatic index management, you can kind of have more than 5,000 items. New site templates available for both in-place policyholder as well as the compliance policy center. So in-place policyholder policy center kind of helps you in holding set of documents rather than moving to a different site collection. In new version, you can have an in-place hold as well. The compliance policy center is something that you would use. Let's say you want to delete certain documents after a certain period of time. Let's say mergers and acquisition documents needs to be maintained by for 7 years as per majority of the company's auditing requirements. So after 7 years, what we would do, you would simply delete the document. So this compliance policy center will kind of ensure that is happening. From an end user standpoint, this is one of the fabulous feature. People are going to love it. So now with the durable links, you don't have to worry about, okay, I've sent a document link to my boss, but I've realized that one of my colleagues went and renamed the file. From a lot of people put the month and year in the file name, right? Let's say from January 2016, somebody renamed the file to April 2016. So what would happen? The link what I sent to my boss is going to break it, right? The new durable link, the way it works is it is working based on the document ID, not based on the document name. The document ID is not going to change. You can rename it. You can move the file to a different folder in whatever the scenario you're doing. You will still have the same link working because of the document ID. So this is going to be very interesting feature. We'll wait and see if it is having any limitations or anything. But as of now, no limitations I have found so far. I can still talk about various other new features available. But in the interest of time, I'm going to summarize some of the other features like zero downtime patching. This came from the Office 365 influence, right? So the Office 365, you don't see a downtime at all. A lot of upgrades and a lot of new features are added every 2 weeks, but still, you don't see a downtime window as well as such. So similar concept is available for 2016 on-prem as well. The profile redirection is something we talked about for all hybrid, not just the profile, anything, any redirection we talked about. Then document discussions in Yammer, that is now smooth experience. You don't feel like you're in a SharePoint versus Yammer. It is pretty much smooth. The open document format. So this is very important. Someone I was not able to show the may not be able to show the demo, but this is very important from a feature set perspective. Open document format is something like, okay, you're not creating a Word document or you're not creating an Excel or a PowerPoint. Rather, you're creating a .odf type of a file, which is open document format, and you can use, because it's everything is XML based in the backend, you can kind of use any editor. So I may edit the document using Excel, but my friend Noor, the call may use Word to edit the document, right? So that open document format is going to be look quite interesting. I'm also pretty excited to see that. And authentication. So if you're still on classic mode authentication, please get out of that. So SharePoint 2016 is not going to support classic authentication. You have a client-based authentication still supported fully, but more and more organizations are moving towards a SAML-based authentication, right? So SharePoint 2016 is kind of promoting the SAML-based authentication. So with that said, I don't know, you may have some more questions around it, but I'm going to flip and move on to a demo site I have created, and talk about some of the features. Probably show you the features rather than just talking about it. Okay. So this is a plain vanilla SharePoint 2016 site. No customization done on the UI or look and feel or even on the custom web parts or anything. It's just a plain vanilla SharePoint 2016 site. As you can see, there's nothing changed from an overall look and feel perspective. If you have the similar ribbon options, similar look and feel for your site as well. And if I go into even the site menu options, all the options that you're seeing are pretty much the same what you have seen earlier. And if you go into the site contents, same look and feel, nothing changed, same iconic kind of a look and feel. And if I go into the site settings, I'm an administrator for the form, and I still see probably one or two more options, but pretty much the same options what we are used to in 2013. So you'll not see a big need of a learning curve as such, but because everything is pretty much the same. Okay, I'm going to go back and spend a few minutes on the document. Nothing different in terms of the ribbon. If you go into the files or library, everything is pretty much the same. Right? I don't see much options change in terms of this, but you can see this menu options, additional menu options available apart from the ribbon. The most frequent operations, you can do creation of new document or uploading the documents or syncing it. These are all the common operations people normally do it, and it's again a context-based menu item. So based on the documents you choose, some of the options get enabled and disabled. Right? Nothing new. Then I have some sample files uploaded, and I don't have the Office web apps configured, so that's why you don't see the Word preview. But by default, if I open any of this image, for example, or a video, I have a preview feature of images and videos on the document library itself. The same experience, like I mentioned, is available in the search as well. All these images and videos, I can see it. I can do a preview here itself. Then let me go into the settings as well. Nothing changed in terms of settings as well. So all the options you are familiar with, both SharePoint Online as well as SharePoint 2013, the options are going to be exactly the same. So you will not see much of a difference in the settings as well. A couple of other features we talked about is special characters. As you can see, the special characters like all these curly braces, ampersand symbols in SharePoint 2013 version, all of this were not allowed. Now you have this option enabled. And remember, we talked about the durable links as well, and I just wanted to show you what exactly I was talking about. I'm just going to take a notepad and just copy this URL, and say if I rename this document. If I rename the document, and if I paste the URL, you can see this difference. Basically, just based on the name of the document, SharePoint, kind of changes the URL as well. That's why this will not happen, when you're using the durable links. Durable links, kind of uses the doc ID feature. That is not configured in this form, but if you use the doc ID, the durable links feature, you don't need to worry about all these links getting broken. And I'm on SharePoint 2016, but still, I have this app launcher similar to how we used to have it in, online version of SharePoint as well. So this is going to, when I do a synchronization of my online version, online, portal with this domain, then I will get, all the options and all the apps I used to get in SharePoint Online. All of those, will be available here. And whatever you are seeing as of now, all of them are hybrid options. So if I click on Sites or OneDrive or Newsfeed, all of them, will take me to the SharePoint Online based personal site where I have a unified experience for both online as well as on-prem sites. So I'm going to open the central admin as well. And central admin, as you can see, nothing changed in central admin from a look and feel perspective and the experience perspective. If I go into create a site collection, I want to show you all these basic sites are already available. But I do have an option for in-place hold policy center and compliance policy center. All of these new site collection options are enabled. Application settings, again the same. You do say this new option called PWA setting, which is a project web app setting. You can kind of configure how you want your project web app behave. All these additional logging and everything you want to do it on the project web app. So you can manage the project web app here. And there's a new option called Office 365. So this is why Microsoft has been talking big about hybrid, going towards hybrid, enabling SharePoint 2016 more for hybrid. You do have the Office 365 option. You can configure the Yammer from Office 365, so you don't have two different instances. And the insights, you can configure the SharePoint Insight, and you can even configure the OneDrive on site for your Office 365 and on-prem seamless experience. The last one I want to talk about is the project web app. So once you have the project web app configured properly, you do have all these additional features which you can activate at a site collection level or even at the site level. Project web app connectivity, the proposal workflow, and then the project functionality. Right? So all these options are available for you. And once you have it, your project web app. So here is the project web app, very basic site created using the project web app. This is the out-of-the-box look and feel of project web app. You can look at the projects which are currently going on, and what is the start date. This project started from April 12th, and we are here, and what is the status of it, right? So the typical Gantt chart. We do have options for the task, resources, what do you do with the resources, and where are we with the project, all those reports. All of that is available using the project center. Say if I want to create a new project, I can do it. I have two options. Then I just want to manage certain tasks. I don't need to worry about my resources or the reports. All I need is just a list of tasks I want to manage. You can very well do that, or you can choose to do a enterprise project. The enterprise project is the one which will have all the options of tasks, resources, reports, and tracking and everything. So that completes the demo part. I'm just going to switch over to the PowerPoint and talk about more things. So we talked about the new features, we talked about the evolution and everything. When Microsoft is focusing on new features, obviously certain features get deprecated. So here are the list of features you will no longer will be able to use it. For example, the SharePoint Foundation, always from SharePoint 2007 or even 2003 onwards, there was always a Windows SharePoint Services, WSS, we used to call. And then from 2010 onwards, it got changed to SharePoint Foundation, which was the free version of SharePoint. So you have a limited usage and you don't want to go for a full-blown licensed version. You can always use the out-of-the-box free version, which is the Foundation. But from 2016 onwards, there is no free version. So to have a need, you better pay for it. That's a kind of a direction. Then standalone installation, we talked about it. There are no designer, both from a SharePoint designer perspective as well as from an InfoPath designer perspective, we have seen so far. And Microsoft did confirm that the 2013 version of Designer as well as the InfoPath will be good enough to continue with it. Right now, you can still use a 2013 Designer for both SharePoint as well as the InfoPath application. Though the InfoPath Designer or the InfoPath itself is not focused much from Microsoft perspective, still people, some of the business teams are loving it, and some of the business teams are still using InfoPath. And there is no more forefront identity manager. And from Excel services as well as Power BI, some of the features within that, it's not that the entire Excel services or the Power BI is going away, but some of the features within that is going away. Then tags and notes, even in 2013, it was never used, and Microsoft already communicated not to use tags and notes. So that is going away. And we have been talking about STS ADM going away, right, for a long time, I would say. From 2010 onwards, from the time PowerShell picked up, we have been talking about STS ADM going away. But finally, it is coming to the light. So we are finally saying goodbye to STS ADM. Use PowerShell for all the important features. The last slide, migration options. There is no in-place upgrade option available. So what it means is that you cannot have the same server form and then upgrade from your earlier version to the 2016 version. That is no longer available for 2016. It was available for earlier versions, but you cannot do that. The only out-of-the-box option available for you in migrating is the Contd based upgrade. So in order to do that, you need to be on SharePoint 2013 version. You cannot do the upgrade from SharePoint 2007 or from SharePoint 2010 directly to 2016. So you need to have an intermediate SharePoint 2013 environment. So build the form, and then you need to upgrade it to SharePoint 2016. So that is a out-of-the-box option available from Microsoft. In order to do that, so you will basically clean up your source form. Anything which is not required, you will not take it, and you will prepare your SharePoint 2016 form. Then any customizations you want to take it, probably you will have to back up all of those customizations, and then you will do a SQL Server Contd attach and detach method, right? So basically, you take the database from the earlier version, which is the 2013, restore it in 2016, and then do a site collection level Contd attach and detach. Right. So that is a typical option available. Very few scenarios where you have the Contd upgrade method work because of various reasons. It could be a business reason or probably a technical glitch. So there are a lot of third-party tools out in the market. I can talk about migration alone for more than a few hours, I would say. There are a lot of third-party tools available, starting from DocCav, Metalogics, ShareGate. All of these tools are available, and it's not just a SharePoint to SharePoint migration. The migrations are possible from other platforms to SharePoint as well, right? Not just SharePoint to SharePoint, like Lotus Notes, LiveLink, Alfresco. I'm seeing projects. I would say from the time 2013 got launched, I have to be honest and say, I'm working on only migration projects for the past 3.5 to 4 years, I would say, right? Because that much of attraction, we have towards SharePoint as a product, and we have been working on SharePoint earlier versions to SharePoint 2016 or even other, 2013, and then other versions, other platforms to SharePoint migration as well. We have been working on it. Again, the site collections have to be in the 14 mode, will not get upgraded. That's again a known thing. With that said, I'll give it back to you, Noor, and take it over from here. Thank you so much, guys, okay. And I'll be back for the question session.
Thanks, Madan. Thanks for the quick session as well as a quick demo. I know we have few questions coming in, but before we start, let me take up this particular slide. So WinWare Technologies is a Microsoft managed and gold certified IT solutions company focused on making information actionable for the enterprises in the mobile world cloud. So we help business and technology leaders achieve and undergo business environment using pre-built analytic solution accelerators. We leverage platforms such as SharePoint, Office 365, SQL Azure, SQL Server, and .NET programming to deliver business solutions to our customers. For more information, I would suggest you to visit our website www.winware.com. And with this, I would move to the next slide and let me start taking up the questions. So the first question, Madan, is you talk about hybrid. So how does the on-prem and Office 365 work together?
Sure. Some of the options, I have shown it, and then we can, talk about a little more about the hybrid, So in SharePoint 2013 world, making it as hybrid is not out of the box or from the tool perspective, right? So we have to do some customizations on top to make it hybrid. But in SharePoint 2016, you do have an option in the central administration of the SharePoint 2016 installation, wherein you have an option to kind of configure the hybrid option. The hybrid option pretty much work for OneDrive for business, and the list of sites you're following, the list of documents you're following, and also the insights as well, right? And then the delve and everything. And from a bigger perspective, if I look at it, the search is a primary component. A lot of people leverage it efficiently for hybrid, right? You have a SharePoint 2016 form, which is hosting your custom application. And you have a SharePoint Online, which is the intranet portal, which is hosting the intranet portal. In that case, you don't want users to leverage the search, single search, searching across these two platforms. So that's when the hybrid comes into picture. So all of that options are available. And if you want to know more about it, how do you configure the search? How do you configure the hybrid OneDrive and site and other things? We can have a follow-up discussion around it.
Thanks, Madan. So the other question is in terms of responsiveness and mobile support in 2013 and 2016. So can you share some insights on the device support or the apps that is available?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. We can talk about it. So though SharePoint as a product, talks about responsive design and then having mobile-friendly interface. A lot of times, we do realize, from a development standpoint, the way people make it responsive, completely is having a custom master page, right? That is the first step. Any developer would have done it. Even I have done it, right? So having a custom master page is the first step, and then we start thinking about anything else, right? But in the recent developments, Microsoft has released the open source responsive UI package. So you can search for it. You can Google, search around, and you will get like open source responsive UI package for SharePoint. Interestingly, this package works for both SharePoint 2013 as well as SharePoint 2016. This package lets you, make this responsive design, compatible responsive design without going to go for a custom master page, right? You have out of the box or the standard master page you are using. With that itself, you can make the sites responsive enough, right? It uses a pattern called JavaScript embed pattern. You can kind of search around and you will find different articles. How do you use that package? So that helps you in doing the responsive design.
Thanks, Madan. So the other question is, do I always need to go for MinRole based configuration for SharePoint Server 2016?
Okay, the MinRole concept, though it is introduced by Microsoft, in SharePoint 2016, they do know very well that people are going to take some time to adapt to this new model because it's a underlying infrastructure itself, right? It is completely changed. You do want to give some time for the people to get trained and then use it efficiently. So you don't need to go for a MinRole concept, right? Even the demo site I have shown, I'm not using the MinRole concept because I may need to have like 4 or 5 different servers to have the MinRole. MinRole, you would definitely go for a production kind of a version, but from a POC standpoint, you can still go for a single server installation which is connecting to a SQL server, right? That is pretty much possible. So you don't need to have a MinRole always.
Great. So also, is there any recommendations on when to go for SharePoint 2016 versus online versus hybrid?
Sure, definitely. This is one of the common question. I would say, this is one of the questions I would hear from every single customer. We go, for the assessment or for the architecture design session. Right? SharePoint 2016 on-prem, is something you would go for if you want to, let's say, move towards cloud, but you want to take some time, right? That's when you have the hybrid period for, let's say, a year or so. Before moving all of your content to Office 365, let's say you have some custom components built in your on-prem, then you would go for on-prem plus online, then a hybrid situation. There are people who are still staying in on-prem for certain reasons. One is, let's say, compliance reasons, right? There are certain type of companies, they cannot put everything on the cloud. It is completely changing. A lot of that perception has changed a lot. So a lot of organizations are going for the online version directly, but still it will take some time. So in that scenarios, from a compliance standpoint or from a custom .NET code standpoint, let's say you have some custom .NET code written for a very complex module which you cannot port it over. In such scenarios, you will still stay on the on-prem, but move the other sites to online and have a hybrid kind of a situation. So I would say in the next year or so, we will see hybrid taking over completely. So you will not see just the online, or you will not see just the on-prem. Majority of them will be just online, or the next percentage will be about more towards hybrid.
Good. Thanks, Madan. I know we are running out of the time. I think I'll take up this last question, and we have more questions which we would send the response back offline. So the last question is, we know that the sandbox solution is being deprecated. So do you think we will get any other powerful options for the sandbox?
Sure. So yeah, it is being discouraged, right? Rather than saying deprecated, I would say it is being discouraged not to use the sandbox solutions, and as well as the full trust solution, not to go for that. The recommendation from Microsoft is go for the app model. So go ahead and develop the apps, right? So 2016 apps. So if you go for an app model, even if you want to migrate it to SharePoint Online or to Azure, it will be easier to port these apps as Azure apps that's a recommendation Microsoft is also giving. So don't go for a full trust solution, rather go for an app model. Do we say app model? I do have to agree that there are developers still hesitant to go for app model just because of the comfort level they have with the full trust model or with the sandbox model, because the time taken to build a solution or build a utility in a sandbox solution or a full trust solution is very minimal. I would say going towards app model is going to be a slightly little bit of a hard journey in the initial days, but once you're up to speed, it is no different from sandbox solution or full trust solution. So I would highly recommend going towards the app model.
Okay, thanks, Madan. I know we are 1 minute over already. So thanks everyone for taking time to join this webinar, and hope you found it informative. As you can see on the screen, if you have any questions, you can write it to us at marketing@winwire.com, and also you can follow us on our Twitter and visit our blog sites where we would be publishing some of the blogs on SharePoint, Office 365, Azure, and other topics as well. So with that, I would like to thanks again, and hoping you to see in our next webinar. Thanks, Madan. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot, everyone, for taking out time. Hope this I was able to make this hour count. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.